Hey everybody, Zone Gets 134 here.
Average Joe Squad here.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. And we got a special review for you today. Starting today, well, why don't you talk about it since this is your project?
So most people, when it comes to the Fantastic Four, they think of, there's three movies they think of. Well, two, if you've actually seen the third one.
They think of two when they think of ones that are good.
Yeah, so they either think of either of the 2005 or 2007 films, starring Jessica Alba as Sue Storm. I can't remember anybody else that was in that movie. It's Chris Evans. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. Everybody else is kind of forgettable.
That guy from The Shield as the Thing.
The guy from Charmed as Doctor Doom. I feel bad I can never remember his name.
What gets me is I can never remember who Reed is in that. When we review those movies, because
we are going to review those.
Yeah, because we're doing a whole month of Fantastic Four stuff here since
it's my birthday month.
It's his birthday month, and I figured I'd let him have this, especially because next month we're doing Iron Man.
Yeah, so
a character I really like that a lot of people don't, but I mean it's fair. But anyway.
But yeah, so there's actually four Fantastic Four films, ironically enough.
Now, don't feel too bad you don't know one of these, because it never actually got released.
Yeah, so back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a film called Fantastic Four. It was produced by Roger Corman, and it got pretty it was basically done. A lot of the effects work wasn't done yet, but it got pulled and never released. And there's been a lot of speculation ever since that it was basically a plot by Corman to keep the rights within his film company. That's what Stan Lee said it was. It was basically a plot to keep the rights. Mm-hmm. Our good buddy Avi.
Avi Arad.
Avi said he pulled it because it would ruin the brand. So who knows? There's a documentary about this which we might review later. That probably has a lot more detail on it. But the fact that there's a documentary on this unreleased movie that actually got leaked, because I did a little research. It showed up as a bootleg a couple years after it was announced.
Right.
After they pulled it, it got leaked. Excuse me. So exactly how it got leaked, who knows?
More than likely, what happened, and I'm not saying this act like I know, but a lot of times when movies get leaked, it usually is because someone who worked on the film kept a copy of it, and when they realized no one was going to say shit if they released this, they just threw it out into the wild. Usually with comic conventions, one of the movies I want us to review eventually, the original Justice League movie, that was a TV pilot for a Justice League TV show on CBS, was never released, but
it got leaked.
Yeah, because again, someone who worked on it
it's very rare if stuff doesn't get leaked at some point if it's unreleased. That's kind of the deal with a lot of music when it gets released.
The thing about nowadays is that you can easily just put those files onto the internet and someone can get them.
Make a sock puppet account and leak something.
Yeah, but back then, what you did was you would anonymously send these VHS tapes or whatever file sharing thing you had back then, which
tape sharing,
yeah,
which was a big thing.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why MST3K fans always say keep on circulating the tapes, because for lost media back in the day, if you didn't have a tape of it, it didn't exist.
Basically.
But getting back to my little rant here, basically someone would send it to a comic convention, and then I guarantee you someone would have it on a TV. And I'm talking about old school comic conventions, the kind that were in church basements and flea markets.
We're
before
talking prime public image of Trekkie convention.
Because and people think, that was more like the 70s, 80s. No, that was a 90s thing. Comic conventions didn't have convention centers until, I'd argue, the late 90s, early 2000s.
No, I was just about to say that. That's usually when I think what the image we have of comic conventions now. That definitely was a thing early 2000s, I would argue. Because that's at least when I first heard of it, but I'm a little younger than you are.
So a lot of comic conventions, basically they would either someone at a table would have this on a video, or if you had the space, they would put it on a big screen with a slide projector, and you would watch this movie in a crowded room with a bunch of other nerds, sweaty and hot.
Yeah, this movie I actually think it premiered once.
Yeah.
So it was showed at least once, and then it probably just got leaked because, let's be honest, once something is shown publicly, it does eventually get leaked.
Because and not only that, you probably would find terrible copies of it where literally someone just pointed up
the copy we watched wasn't too bad.
No,
it looked grainy because it was a VHS copy, obviously, but
no, that was more than likely a VHS copy, which was.
I'm surprised there's not a fan cleanup of that for like Blu-ray because they do it all the time for other stuff. There probably is. I just didn't go and look for it because I didn't want to download it.
Because you could probably find this on a perfectly legitimate Blu-ray through perfectly legitimate means.
I did look on eBay. I didn't buy it, but I looked on eBay. You can buy this on Blu-ray, which. I think there was actually at one point I looked. There was a 4K. I'm like, yo, who's watching this in 4K? 60 FPS. Maybe it's a good cleanup. I don't know, but I can't imagine watching this in 4K.
Could you imagine watching this piece of shit at 60 frames per second?
Dear God.
Because we watched this at work on our lunch breaks in 2 days, and we were watching the thing we're filming right now, and I'm like, holy shit. Because I have seen reviews of this because I've seen Linkara's review when he did it with
I've only seen before watching it. I had only seen gift sets and pictures of it. I had never actually seen it. I think I wanted to watch it at one point, and I just never really got around to sitting down and watching it.
So
let's dive into Roger Corman's Fantastic Four movie.
I'll be honest right now, of the old bad comic book movies we've watched so far, this is probably the best of them. Yeah. I would argue
this is honestly more enjoyable, I think, in a good way than Wonder Woman 74.
Because it was at least entertainingly bad.
Yeah,
because that's one of the things you gotta when you're going into movies. In my opinion, a movie is only really bad if it's not enjoyable. Like Dark Phoenix.
I was just about to say Dark Phoenix.
For me, because and probably one of these days I'd actually like to do a thing where I talk about what makes a movie bad. And for me, it's a couple of things. Is it offensive to me? Like on a personal level, is it offensive? Is it boring? Because let me tell you, one of the worst movies I've ever sat through is the Astro Zombies. And it's bad because literally there's a 20-minute scene where we watch a person put together and take apart a computer.
Jesus.
Piece by piece.
What is this, YouTube? How to?
Well, then it would have been an egg cracked. And the last one is, it's just not put together very well. One of the reasons Dark Phoenix offended me so badly was just how unfinished that was.
Yeah. Just what got us both, I think, was the editing. Yeah. The editing was so bad.
Because when I watched...
this had better editing.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Warcraft movie? Mm-hmm. That movie, literally whole scenes have just been cut out of that movie. People try to tell me it's not bad, but I'm like, there are literally just...
You're watching a work cut.
Yeah, no, it really is.
This isn't a work cut. This is definitely... I want to say this is almost a final cut.
Yeah.
It's obvious in a lot of cases, like either the AVR isn't done or the special effects aren't totally finalized. But other than that, it basically was done.
Yeah. So
I think our biggest complaint was just the random music and parts of it.
That was clearly like a soundtrack that was it was a placeholder.
Yeah.
Because clearly some of that was, in my opinion, kind of stock, especially the Fantastic Four theme that literally sounded like something out of the Dawn or Superman films.
Yeah, I mean, the theme music in the beginning was pretty good.
Oh no, I'm not saying it was
everywhere
bad,
else. It's the incidental music was
the one, because spoiler alerts. There's two villains in this, and the Jeweler's soundtrack was so
fucking random.
Because it was like he was like a cartoon villain. Like you hear this music as Wile E. Coyote's planning to kill the Roadrunner with a rocket.
That is a good it's a good summary of it. I know that.
But anyway, so keep in mind when we say this movie is bad but good, it clearly is not.
It's still the best Fantastic Four movie I've ever watched.
Honestly, it is, which is the sad thing. But
that is the sad thing. So high hopes for the MCU to actually do this correctly.
But you get what I mean, right? Just because I think it's bad,
it's not. Yeah, it's
entertainingly bad.
Yeah, it's a bad. It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah, it's like The Room or any really good episode of MST3K.
Yeah.
So our film begins 10 years before the beginning of the film, where we see a young Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom in a what exactly was it, like an astrophysics class?
Yeah, it was like an astrophysics class. Ben's in there too.
Oh yeah, Ben's in there too. A young Ben Grimm. Which, keep in mind when I say the 10 years thing, because when we get to a certain character that they introduce, gets a little creepy. But basically, they're sitting in class, and more or less their teacher, who I feel like I've seen that actor before.
I did too, honestly. I
feel like I've seen him in a lot of He almost kind of reminded me of like the Dean from Animal House. He looked a lot like him. I don't think that was him.
Dean Wormer.
Yeah,
that's not him. But I was getting those vibes from him.
Although he was really excited because this astrological phenomenon called Colossus is going to be seen over the Earth, because I think it only shows up like every couple of decades.
I think so.
Basically, it's a cosmic storm as we come to see it later. Basically, like a big cloud of gases and cosmic energy, like lightning. And Doom and Reed are talking about getting their device ready for tonight. Basically, they were going to create a device to try and channel the energy of Colossus to study it and see if they could use it as an energy source.
Typical science stuff. Right up Reed and Doom's alley.
Because, they had... I will give this movie credit. They have to work around the fact that the original origin for the Fantastic Four was they were trying to beat the Russians into space. Because this movie came out in 94, and I hate breaking it to people, but the Cold War was kind of over, at that time. So... Doom and Reed, they have their stereotypical, I'm ready to move forward, Richards. I'm not afraid. I'm using your calculations. And Reed being like, well, maybe we should wait a little bit longer because my calculations are right, but I don't think your math is. Typical Reed wants to make sure everything's absolutely sure. And one of the things I think they kind of get right about this Doom is that he sometimes doesn't think completely ahead. Because one of the things that makes Doom so different from Reed, in my opinion, and you're free to tell me I'm wrong, is that Reed is very much I've caused so much damage to people's lives. I have to be sure before.
No, that's actually a very good.
And I think he was. That was a very good. That was true of him even before the rocket thing, but he was so.
It was kind of just cemented after it,
yeah.
Basically.
And so, basically, We after all this, we cut back to Reed and Ben, who are roommates living at a boarding house owned by the mother of Susan and Johnny Storm.
Yeah, this was probably my biggest complaint with this movie, was that this didn't age well.
Yeah, because...
No pun intended.
Because basically, they live in their mother... Which is really weird, because their mother is dolled up to look like she's like a 50s housewife.
Yeah,
I'm like, when is this taking place?
Because they never gave us a date.
No, because I assume
maybe that would have been added post-production, but...
Yeah, but because I assume this was only in the 80s, 84, because this is supposed to be taking place in 94. But their mother is... this is my problem with Generation X, where I'm like, what year is it? You have all this weird anachronistic stuff, so I don't know what's the hell's going on.
Yeah, just the kind of... Because I argue, you obviously can have movies where dates aren't really important. They're not as important to the story. But then you have other films where I think having a date kind of just helps, okay, this is the time period, this is or it's the rough area we're dealing with.
Or at least having, consistent,
Wonder Woman.
Clothing sort of thing.
Wonder Woman set during World War One. Everything looks like World War One.
I mean, with the exception of Wonder Woman's outfit, but to be fair, she's technically an Amazon, so I don't really let that go. And we meet a young Sue and Johnny, who I assume Johnny is 8. So that he's 18, which I'm fine with him being the youngest member of the four. Sue is 10 and clearly has a crush on Reed, who is, I'm assuming, a graduate student, so he's probably 25.
I think he's a college student.
It really confused me because I'm like...
No, it definitely, and that's why I say it was probably my biggest complaint with the movie. Yeah, this whole part was just kind of confusing / kind of weird.
Because, I know Sue and Reed have an age gap, but it's not...
It's not that prominent.
It's not that prominent. I always kind of assumed Reed was, 30-ish when they first became the Fantastic Four, and Sue was 25. A noticeable age gap, but not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Here, I'm like... Are we getting into, child brat territory here? Because
Yeah,
it was really uncomfortable.
That's honestly my biggest complaint, because I feel like it's so glaring in terms of just the storyline. I mean, maybe it's just us reading a little too into it as well. That's always a possibility, but to me, it just kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth.
I wouldn't have minded like if they had just made like gotten like a little bit older actors for Johnny and Sue. I wouldn't. Heck, you could have even left Johnny like a little kid.
Yeah.
Because like you could just say 10 years. You know, he's 8. 10 years later, he's 18. I kind of wish Sue was more 16 than I want to say 12.
Yeah.
It was really.
It was just really glaring, like I said.
But getting away from that part. So you know, we cut to the night of. While this is going on, there's also these two random people watching Reed and Doom. We later find out these are Latverian spies because I guess Doom is pretending to just be a regular college student while he goes to study abroad before he becomes the king of Latveria.
Yeah.
But like it's really, really odd, more or less. Like, so you know, of course, we get the scene where like Colossus is apparently right on our doorstep, which, judging by how much energy this thing is giving off, like would be causing all sorts of catastrophic like issues with like the atmosphere, electronics, because like for reference, our sun is like millions of miles away from us. And if the thing gets a sunspot, it causes all the electronic equipment on the Earth to freak out.
Yeah.
But, whatever. So, Reed and Doom, of course, you know, they try to do their experiments. And, of course, the machine fails because Doom's math is off. And, more or less, the energy of Colossus starts freaking out. Reed actually gets away.
Yeah, and I mean, but Doom kind of gets caught in like the electric field.
Yeah,
he's sitting there getting electrocuted, and Ben kind of rushes in and tackles him to get him away from it. But
yeah, and we get this kind of weird scene where Ben kind of looks disappointed at Reed, and I'm like, okay,
like, it's not Reed's fault.
Well,
Doom's the one who wanted to run this without checking anything.
One of the things you notice about this kind of being a slightly rougher cut, even though it is pretty, I feel like that scene would have probably gotten a little bit nipped a bit.
Yeah,
because that scene doesn't really go anywhere.
It doesn't really add anything. I mean, there's no like undercurrent subplot to that. I would argue.
Yeah, because after this, they rush Doom to the hospital, and he dies. Dies.
A comic book character apparently being dead,
and
but
so
not actually dying.
And so of course
Shocking.
Reed feels immense guilt. Ben tries to console him, like, you know, it wasn't your fault. You know, you did what you could. You got him here. And as we see this, the two Latverian spies come back, and they take Doom from America to Latveria. Although this is Latveria before Doom becomes Doom, so I don't really know if Latveria has the great medical properties as America does, but whatever. So we jump ahead 10 years, and Reed has established himself as living in the Baxter Building, which here looks really weird. It's literally just a building with four fours on the very top floor instead of having the big four like you usually see the Baxter Building.
Yeah, which I mean isn't a unique design, and I like it, but it's not nearly as iconic as the normal one.
And to be fair, I kind of get it because they would have to build a model for that, and it probably wouldn't. It would look kind of hokey, like the original Judge Dredd show movie where they made the Hall of Justice a giant eagle, and I'm like, that doesn't look real. That looks.
Yeah, it just looks hokey.
Yeah. So basically, Ben and Reed, you know, we get the more traditional origin for the four, where, you know, Reed wants to go into space. You know, he wants to study Colossus because he's got a spaceship and a diamond.
You forgot the part where we get the name for our team.
Well, no, that hasn't gotten there yet.
I forgot.
Because we, so like, because Reed and Ben, you know, do this while this is all going on. Reed and Ben, you know, go up to the Baxter Building, and they run into a blind woman, Alicia Masters.
Oh yeah, this happened before. My bad.
Yeah,
I was getting a little ahead of ourselves.
And so Alicia, you know, Ben accidentally bumps into Alicia and breaks one of her sculptures, and she starts getting mad. So Ben, okay, Alicia has you know the walking cane that a blind person has. So what does Ben do to like help her? He picks her up and like spins her around.
Yeah, that's another one that has not aged well. That has not aged well.
And especially because it makes the romance between Alicia and Ben really awkward. Because like literally this is their first meeting, and she does, you know, the whole blind thing where she feels his face. And after this, the next time we see her, she's making a sculpture of his face from memory, and is basically fallen in love with him just by touching his face.
Yeah, that whole storyline. I mean, because it leads into that whole subplot near the end of the movie. But it's like that one. I feel was probably the weakest part of the movie. Was just because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Yeah. There's not a lot of depth to it. And they don't spend a lot of time developing it.
And basically, she's only there because we have another villain in this movie. Because, it works so well for Batman Returns and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, granted, this came out...
Batman and Robin had 3.
Yeah, and to be fair, this came out before Batman and Robin, but, like...
That one never came out at all.
Well, I've always argued that one of the reasons Return is so weak is because it has... Penguin and Catwoman and kind of Max Schreck. So there's no room for Batman. Which, in my opinion, you should always have room for Batman. You should always have room for him in your heart. But...
He's in here.
Yeah. But we're introduced to a new villain who at first, when I first saw this, I thought he was supposed to be the Mole Man.
That's what I thought as well.
No. He is a new character called the Jeweler, who wants to steal this giant diamond that Reed needs, which... Fun fact, that looked like a diamond to you when we saw it.
Fuck no, that looked fake as
hell. It looked like a giant piece of rock candy.
Yeah, it really did. Again, maybe it would have got fixed post-production, I don't know, but man, it does not look very good. And I mean, I get that this was most certainly going to be a B movie at best. This was not going to be a AAA blockbuster, but...
It's clearly made of plastic, which I'm like, if you're going to do, like, diamonds or crystals, use glass. I know it's slightly more expensive, but, like...
It looks better.
It looks better, and in my opinion, even if you're on a budget, you have to ask yourself, is this going to look good when we shoot it?
Exactly.
So, he wants the diamond because, at first he wants it to sell because he's the jeweler, so, like, he I guess runs the black market on jewels?
I guess. Again, this was definitely the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah,
in addition to the I don't know, I guess it's kind of tied into the subplot with Ben.
Kind of, but, like, it goes really nowhere.
They don't really spend any time developing it. It just...
Yeah.
Every time we switch back to it, it just kind of feels like it's kind of tacked in.
Well, not only that, like, eventually Doom wants the diamond because he wants to use it to draw the power of Colossus in. And then once he gets the diamond from the jeweler, he disappears from the movie for good, never to be seen again.
He could have showed up in a sequel.
Yeah, I doubt if this movie had gone out, there would have been a sequel. But anyway, so...
I don't know. Captain America had a sequel, and we know how bad that movie is.
Well, the TV show one did. The 90s one did not, which, fair warning, that's going to suck when we get to those.
I got it on... I can get it on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah. Like, what's sad part is, like, the stupid 70s ones are better than the 90s ones.
And I don't think those are on Blu-ray yet, which is...
The 90s one?
Yeah, no, the 70s. I don't think those are on Blu-ray yet. The 90s one is, I know, because I've looked it up on Amazon, but...
But, getting up back from our tangent, so, after all this, Ben and Reed realize they need a couple more members of the crew for the spaceship. And Ben decides to get the only other two people that know anything about it, a couple of teenagers. Well, okay, a young woman and a man in his 18s. So they go... Do you want to reenact this scene for them?
Yeah, so they go over to the boarding house, and Sue's mom opens the door, and Ben, all enthusiastic. I mean, I give him some credit. He's like, do Johnny and Sue want to go to space with us? I'm like,
well, I don't know, dear. You'll have to ask them that.
To which I told him, I even said when we watched it, I'm like, yo, what mom says okay to that?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I think I even used to say, like, would your mom be okay if I came out and said, I'm taking Adam to space with me?
That's it. I mean, she probably wouldn't get me out of the house, but so we cut to seeing the new Sue, who clearly is older and Reed is smitten with, which again creepy. And Johnny come down, and basically they're like, "Of course we're going into space with you," because like, who wouldn't if they were offered that?
Yeah.
And then they're all together, and their mother goes, "Look at you, the Fantastic Four."
And I'm like, God, that's how they get the name in this. That and the scene later where Reed explains where their powers come from was probably the most cringiest.
Oh, that is
part
the
of the
worst.
Those two scenes are definitely the most cringe-worthy scenes in this. Again, I could name you a lot more from the other ones that are worse.
Yeah, I know, but it's
not good.
It's not good.
It's
So,
not good.
And of course, while this is going on, a certain green cloaked man in metal is watching from the shadows. Oh my god. So
Doom's got the most stock audio, public domain ass laugh.
Well, and I think
it's amazing.
I think that's because that they're using so fair warning. One of the parts that's more incomplete about this movie is Doctor Doom, who is clearly being voiced by the guy in the suit in this. Much like if you've ever watched like the undeveloped scenes of Star Wars when you hear the big German dude that's the body for Darth Vader,
or even you see the original footage for Jabba from episode 4 before they got his appearance and they all down. He was going to be this big Irish dude.
Yeah. So basically, Doom originally wanted his henchmen to steal the diamond so Reed couldn't go into space. But then, of course, the jeweler comes along and swaps the diamond out for a fake, despite the fact they both look the same and are clearly fake.
Yeah, really.
And so Doom is like, no! Let them go into space. Now it no longer matters, for Colossus will be mine. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm late for my American Sign Language classes.
I think that... Because here's the thing, I've been making buttons, which, by the way, I will be making some Remember the Hyphen buttons. If anybody wants one, feel free to drop a comment or message us.
I got a fierce emissary from hell.
But yeah, because that will be... I think that'll be fun. But anyway, we were talking about design ideas for buttons, and he brought up, you should make one with Doom from this movie, and the caption could be, Doom is an excellent pantomimer. Which I'm like, is like the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know who told this guy in the suit to do this.
It's like, I think you even brought up, it's like, because you don't have ADHD like I do. Dude, I couldn't focus. I don't know what the fuck
every
he was
time
talking
Doom
about.
talked, I don't
know what he's talking about.
Here's the thing when him and I watch
I'm too busy watching
movies at work, I have to kind of be the one that focuses the most. Because nothing against you, just...
No, I can't focus.
I
can only focus when I'm reading.
I mean, granted, you do a pretty good job, but when we do reviews, I try to pay a little bit of attention in case you have questions, so that I can be like, well, this happened. Every time Doom talked, his hands had to twitch and move, and he would...
It's like, stop.
Forgive me for a second. Do you mind? He would touch people.
It's like,
and I'm like that.
Like,
I'm like, dude, learn some personal fucking space.
Doom does not give a fuck about personal space.
Like, it was so bad, because, like...
Which is a shame, because let's be honest.
Yeah, no.
That costume looks awesome.
He looks really good, aside from...
It looks exactly like this.
My only complaint is, when you get too close, you can clearly tell they made his hood and stuff out of towels.
But I mean, like, even then, it
looks really great. No,
for what it is, it looks better than later on the actual costumes for the FF.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, his costume looks great.
His costume
that
looks
voice
great.
is
just
the
horrible.
voice and the fucking hand gestures.
Yeah,
it's like, God, enough,
like,
please.
Like, I get when, like, because, like, clearly when they were shooting those scenes where it's him, like, before they
were obviously going to go back and overdub that with somebody else.
But, like, here, like, when they were shooting those scenes where he's, like, talking onto a TV, you see his hands moving, and I get why they did that there, because it showed, like, there was clearly some malicious force with these robotic looking hands, and it looked cool there, but then someone must have been like, well, that looks really good, let's keep having him move his hands around while he's talking.
It's just... It's like I said, that whole end, near the end when he's got them trapped, getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that whole scene where he's talking and just go... I don't know what he said, because I could not focus on anything but them fucking hands moving.
To say nothing of the fact that he has the same problem I had with Tom Holland, where they were like, let's record his voice in the helmet. When he's doing short lines, you can tell what he's saying. But when he's talking in long dialogues, he kind of forgets that he's talking in a helmet, so eventually he kind of stops enunciating and talking really loudly, so eventually he just starts getting really hard to talk here. Like that, and
Alive! What do you mean alive? Like we're not even lying. Look up Doctor Doom 1994 best of. The laugh is the first thing in the video. It is absolutely crazy.
All right, so
I don't know who told him to laugh like that. But it sounds good.
Yeah.
But it goes on too long. He laughs way too damn long.
That's something where I would have been like,
let's cut that.
Yeah, let's cut that down a bit.
Tone it down a bit.
Because
you're at a 20. I need you at like a 10.
Well, because the thing about like doing evil laughter is you have to stop at a certain point before it goes on too long,
and it just becomes a joke.
Like the only way you get away with that is like the Joker, because he's,
and even then, Mark Hamill does it in a way that it doesn't sound like he's dragging it.
Yeah, no, especially because he gives the Joker so many different laughs. I mean, I know a lot of people have a set laugh when they drew his impersonation, but he really doesn't have
Hamill's got a whole array of them.
A range of laughs.
But so anyway, we get back to the FF going into space, and this was another complaint I had about this. They basically show the ship exploding.
Yeah, no, because basically because the diamond can't absorb the radiation, the ship overloads and it explodes.
So then we cut the Doom laughing, and then we cut back to this wreckage, and I'm like, and they're all four of them are okay, and I'm like,
so to reiterate,
I get that they probably did that to show because they even bring it up. It's look at all the even Reed's look at all the wreckage, and we get out without a scratch. That doesn't seem curious to anybody. It's but they try to bring it up and explain it. But even then, if you look at the original origin for the Fantastic Four, it is nothing like that. The ship actually just crashes on Earth.
Yeah. Which
makes sense then, because they get out, they're moderately okay.
Okay.
The ship exploding in the damn atmosphere.
Yeah. Because for reference, you can't survive that.
No.
No one can. Not only that, there
wouldn't be that much wreckage of it left. They wouldn't have all landed in one spot.
For God's sakes, the ship exploded in space.
Yeah.
You tell me they managed to make it through re-entry?
Yeah.
Have you seen re-entry?
Yeah, as someone who's done research on space exploration, it's there's no way in hell that you can get through that.
Because, the bottom of a space shuttle, when it re-enters Earth's orbit,
it burns up.
Well, it's hotter than the sun. Because, for reference, fire, when it's burning, is actually moderately cold compared to, when, you're a jet engine when it's propelling you across something. When you're trying to forcibly push through an atmosphere, the amount of heat that gives off is unreal.
Yeah.
And try microwaving a marshmallow in the microwave and see what happens. Pro tip: don't actually do that.
It's like putting a spoon in the microwave. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, it'll be less catastrophic,
unless you want to burn your house down.
It'll just be really messy when it explodes.
But so anyway, they all get out, and for the most part, they all seem to be perfectly okay. Even Reed remarks, "There's not a scratch on us."
Yeah.
The first indicator that there's something wrong is
I want to say Johnny sneezing.
No, it's Sue. I think it was Sue.
No, it was Johnny because he.
Oh yeah, Johnny sneezes and a fireball ignites.
Yeah.
Then Sue comes up, but they can't see her.
Which, I'm so. They were Reed was the first to be looking for you, and he was calling for all of you, and you just
didn't answer.
I get maybe she was unconscious, but
or dazed at least.
Or dazed, but she there was a long time before we got to her, which was okay.
Yeah, that scene should have been trimmed down a little bit.
But yeah, then Sue appears / doesn't appear, and then all of a sudden she kind of, I think, partially reappears.
Yes, her head partially reappears, or the upper half of her, and then
she almost faints because of that.
Yeah, they kind of do the scene that later becomes a thing in 2005 Fantastic Four, where it's look at me. It's I think I even remarked that. I was look at me. I can't. It's
I can't,
look at your hands.
Yeah, and she almost falls, and then Reed, of course,
does the stretch
thing to catch her. Which I will admit, the stretch effects
looks very good.
Looks pretty good.
It looks a lot better than Generation X, but granted, this had probably a little more of a budget.
Well, my complaint is more the fact that every time he stretches, his clothes stretches with him, which, unless it's unstable molecular fiber, it shouldn't. But I'm willing to forgive it because It's one of those things like when like in
It's
One
one of those
Piece,
things you just kind of have to suspend your
your
disbelief.
disbelief. Like it's like in One Piece where people have like these transformations where they get really big and their clothes doesn't rip because Oda's like, well, I don't want to, you know, have any of those unfortunate implications when their clothing rips.
They're protected by the Comic Book Code Authority.
Yeah, basically. So
reference a She-Hulk comic,
and
who
so
also is a member of the FF occasionally.
yeah, and so Doom of course is pissed that they're alive, so he sends his forces after them.
Who they show up
Like
disguised as Americans.
Yeah, and
which works.
Which is although it's hilarious though because their idea of making them Americans is to just put American flags in their Humvees at the
and to give them M16s.
And to give them M16s.
Look, they're not. I noticed this. I didn't say it because I'm somewhat of a gun guy.
Yeah.
Those are not the right clips either that are in those guns for the M16s. Those are the 20-round short mags. Like, by that point, it should have been banana clips, which should have been a giveaway, but I guess actually, maybe they just don't know.
Well, actually, maybe that was kind of intentional.
Like to show like these are not because a lot of other countries once we started exporting stuff like M16s over to them, they got those clips.
I mean,
so maybe that was an indication, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if Roger
maybe
Corman,
that's us reading trying to give it too much context.
credit, but like, I mean,
no, I can explain this, because it actually in the 1980.
No,
they just fucked up. Nah, they just fucked up.
And so basically, it's at this point that Ben's mutation finally happens, and he's the thing. And I gotta admit,
he doesn't look too bad. He doesn't look nearly as good as the other two movies.
My problem is with the face because he kind of looks like Patrick Starfish.
You took my only team. Now I'm gonna clobber them.
And which I will give credit to this movie. They do play up the fact that he's looks like a monster, and it's horrifying. But then immediately afterwards, when
they're playing him up for comic relief, it's really disjointed.
Because then he tries to sit down, and the stool breaks, and it's whomp whomp. I'm like, thanks. And so we get these scenes of this doctor, which I will admit was probably the funniest part of this movie, was when the doctor kept trying to get
the guy
blood.
Who talked like Shatner? Yeah.
Yeah. If you could just let me take a sample of your blood. And so, like, Johnny, almost lights the dude on fire. Sue disappears and reappears in front of him.
Yeah, which is just hilarious. Then he gets to read, and he's like...
just like, you take your blood.
Take your own blood sample.
Okay.
It's like...
That was... I will admit,
was funny.
I love the guy they got for reading this. I don't know any of these actors, but like...
I don't think they've ever really been in anything else noteworthy.
But like, I liked Reed because like...
Nothing I know offhand, at least.
He at least was in my... Because like, I think a lot of the later movies kind of have this problem of letting Reed be kind of... I wouldn't say charming, but like, he has like a... Like, because he's not just like just a big brain... Like...
He's a person at the end of the day.
Yeah, because like... he has like a sense of humor. He clearly cares about his family. Like a lot of because this is one of my problems I have with Fantastic Four. A lot of bad writers make Reed out to be like this almost an alien in the way he acts with people because of how smart he is. And I'm like,
which he's
not.
That wasn't how Stan intended it. I watched a doc on the FF a while ago. One day when you weren't at work, and it had an interview with Stan in it, and he talked about how he created the characters, and he's like, I wanted to make this guy that, he's ultra smart, but he's so boring with it that everybody else in the team is like, will you just shut up?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, there's still more to the character than that.
And to be fair, I still think Stan gave him a lot of
Stan gave him a lot of personality.
Like, and to be fair, I think a lot of the problem is thanks to, like, the way people, like, even, like, the popular culture has... seen the character. He's very much... They think he's, like, almost, like, an alien in the way he, like, interacts with people, which I don't think he is. Especially if you see, like, the evil Reed that the comics has with the Maker from the Ultimate line. That guy is a monster. And, and to be fair, I thanks to him, I kind of realized why Reed needs to be a good guy, because, like, if he were a supervillain, he would probably be horrifying. I think even the regular Doctor Doom is like, dude, you're a fucking asshole.
Bro, you need to chill.
Yeah, no, like,
you need to chill,
and this is Doctor Doom we're talking about.
Doom does not have enough chill to deal with him.
Yeah. But so basically, like, the group soon realized that something's kind of weird about this lab. Basically, like, we've been here for, like, 2 days.
And they haven't told us anything.
And they're not letting Reed like, even if he, like, because to be fair, I do get, like, the quarantining thing, because that is a thing you do with space.
Yeah,
with space
but when
movies.
they're letting them all like be with each other in the same room, like
Yeah.
there's no reason they couldn't have let Reed do some stuff.
Yeah,
because
'cause,
Reed's
like-
obviously a scientist himself. Why wouldn't you want somebody who would know better than anybody what they're going through?
Yeah.
Try to help.
Yeah. Also, the jeweler kidnaps Alicia during this, too, but...
That whole scene that dragged on way,
And it's
way
really uncomfortable, because,
No,
like...
it really is.
Like, the dude sent
It's
after
really
Alicia...
ableist, if anything.
Yeah, especially because, like, poor Alicia doesn't know what's going on. And these dudes just swarm her. Like, one of the jeweler's main henchmen, like, later on when they have to take her, like, move her around, he does, like, this thing where he comes over her and he's like... I'm like...
Like, enough. Like, God, it's vaguely sexually assaultish. It's just
Yeah,
it's very, very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
And while I get they probably didn't intend for it to come over like that,
I don't know.
it does, and it's hard as fuck to watch.
This is Roger Corman we're talking about. Like, he can be kind of... And which would be fair, because I don't think he's, like, actually like that, but, like, there are certain times where he, like, especially when he did some of his horror movies, like Piranha, like, I'm like, bruh.
Chill.
Like, I'm watching a movie where killer piranhas are attacking people. You don't need to give me this weird sexual context, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, basically, Reed decides we're going to have a prison break, because I got to know what's going on. If there is something wrong with us, we'll stay, but I got to figure out why they're doing this. And so, we get this really weird edit where these guys come to try and, take the floor while they're playing cards, and then, thing gets behind them, and then we get this weird spinny effect that's implying that, like, they beat them.
And they do that multiple times in this movie. Like, It's a really weird... I hope they weren't going to intend to keep that, because that is a weird transition.
Yeah,
it really takes you out of the fact that it's a movie.
Yeah, you really should have just, like shown, like, the thing, punching at the camera. I get not showing the fight.
It's just
and
there's
like
a lot of
skirmish,
weird.
but, like,
There's a lot of weird film stuff in it. Like, I think the biggest one for me, and I think because I mentioned this to you when we were watching it, is that there's multiple scenes in this movie where the people are just talking to the camera.
Like, Doom does that a lot.
As someone who's done video productions, I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah,
it looks shitty. It's not an edgy take.
Yeah,
it takes the audience out of the fact that you're. It makes it obvious to the audience I'm watching a movie, but it takes you out of the scene. It's really jarring.
For instance, when we're talking on the podcast, a lot of time we're talking to each other.
Yeah,
because it's really
just easier to kind of like act like we're having a conversation.
Then I feel really weird talking at the camera, because like I'm talking to a screen, so like I'd rather prefer looking at you because you're a person.
For movies, it's just I cannot stand when people do that and they think it's a good shot. It's not. It looks shitty. It
like
looks
not even like news interviews do that. Like, I mean, granted, because like they have a camera right like in front of the people because you want to show like.
But they're reading off screens. But.
Well, then like there's also like there's usually a camera between like on the either side of the person so that you can switch, because like even when you're doing interviews that's awkward.
Yeah, but so they do that. But anyway, so we get this scene where basically Reed, Johnny, and Sue. Are disguised in the suits, and they sneak out to kind of figure out what's going on. They leave Ben in the room, and this scene was kind of funny to me, where they're like, "What am I supposed to do? Talk to him.
Talk to him."
They're just knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay. Yeah. So he starts dealing them cards like they're playing a card game, which was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Like
that was pretty funny.
So then they all the trio sneak out, and
the Terrific Three.
Sue knocks this one guard out, she goes invisible and knocks him out, and then there's this scene where like she rematerializes as they go in, and she's like, hurt. Like she keeps doing the hand thing, which I'm like, okay, I get it. Punching people hurts.
But like she just kept holding.
Yeah, she kept doing it a little too longer than necessary. But
they should have maybe like after the first just kind of cut the extra parts out.
But so Reed gets into the system and he kind of figures out what's going on.
Well,
he can't read the language on the screen, which is the first giveaway. We're not in.
Yeah, we're not in America because it would be in English.
Have they even told our families that we're still alive?
Yeah. To which I'm like, you all have family. Well, okay, Sue and Johnny do, but I always thought Reed's family was dead.
Yeah. But so anyway, it's then that they kind of. This alarm goes off because the guy Sue knocked out, he kind of gets back up and he hits an alarm as they're leaving. And so an alarm goes off, and Ben just looks at it. He's like, well,
Card game's over, boys.
card game's over. And he
Gotta go.
just runs through the door.
Aside, Ben's voice is really weird once he becomes the Thing. Like, they put like this weird filter over it that makes him sound really stupid. Which to be fair, is not really
it's not Ben.
Grimm. Like, yeah, he's got like the Yancey Street dialogue, but like,
and he's a little too reliant on using his brute strength at times. But he's not dumb.
He's not dumb. He just he's just who he is, you know. Yeah. But so
they're trying to escape, and they run into this room where the laser is.
Yeah. And then, of course, Doom
shows up, and he starts pantomiming again.
Doom is going to use jazz hands to show you how the laser works.
And I mean, he really talks down to them, which I think is kind of in character.
Which is very, very.
Yeah, he basically is like, you guys can go back to your rooms like good little children.
If not, there would be pain. And he talks about the pain he's going to give to them. I'm like bruh. I get it. Don't, like, I'm not kink shaming you, Doom, but...
So what does Doom stop doing? He stops monologuing. He just keeps talking about how the world will soon be his.
It's like, I know, and then eventually he's just like...
stops monologuing.
So Doom does the thing that most supervillains...
He sends in the henchmen. And all the henchmen...
He leaves the room. Like,
yeah, he leaves the room. And here's the thing. All the henchmen come in dressed up like him, to which I was like, oh, are we getting Doom bots?
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of cool. No, they're just henchmen. I was like... Kind of a wasted opportunity.
Well, they basically, like, Doom was like, henchmen to me. Oh, but boss, we just got back from Bed Bath & Beyond. We were trying out our towels.
Jesus fuck.
No, Doom does not care how great the linen prices are. So, get in here and kill these motherfuckers.
So then we get the first instance, I believe it's used 3 times in this movie.
Yeah.
Of Ben's iconic, it's clobbering time.
Well, not only that, you get a lot of repeating stuff in these fight scenes, particularly the scene. The
scene where Johnny's throwing the fireballs. Well, that was the same shot, just flipped around.
Well, that and the scene where every time Sue fights people, her only fighting ability is either to,
she uses the shield like once,
but basically is to disappear when people come at her and do the whole like, oh, I can't stop. Yeah, in fact, she kills 2 people.
Yeah, but she's got a body count in this.
Like when she goes invisible and crouches,
and these two henchmen, they start shooting just as she goes invisible, so they end up shooting themselves.
Which I'm like,
and then Sue just reappears, and it's like
holy shit,
Sue's got a body count.
Yeah, no, I mean, granted, Sue probably does because she's the most dangerous of the 4, but and also Reed doing this thing where he uses his legs to trip people, like it's Hogan's Heroes, and so. So basically, eventually, Johnny and Ben create an opening to smash through a wall and get away.
Yeah, which Johnny tries burning through it, and it's taking a little longer than usual, and Ben's just like, let me handle this. Well, he just kind of... Yeah. This was like something I made fun of. He, like, when they show him going through the wall, he just kind of like... He kind of like just strides it, and I'm like... we get is probably the actor being in the suit and being encumbered by it, but it's like, it looks really funny.
No, it is...
Like I even mentioned, like, yo, can we put Staying Alive over that?
Yeah, that or like, put a little trombone.
Like I know and again, it's like it's obviously the actor doing the best he can because he's encumbered by the suit, but God, it just looks funny as
hell. No, it looks really bad. So they escape and somehow manage to make it back from Europe to America.
Yeah, to America.
Despite none of them having money on them or.
So basically, Reed tries to figure out, what's wrong with them, and we get this scene. This is the most cringeworthy scene.
This scene's horrible.
Basically, Reed tries to, like, he and Sue are talking, and Sue's like, God, why am I so shy around you? And Reed kind of is like, wait a minute. The light bulb goes off.
Yeah, and I'm like...
He's like, you feel shy. So you disappear. That's your power.
Oh, this
Johnny,
is so
you've always had a lot of a temper. So what do? You become flame. Ben, you always rely on your brute strength more than your intellect. And it's like, and I think for Reed, he's like, I'm always trying to do too many things all at once.
So I'm stretching and I'm like...
What? Thanks for the Freudian fucking explanation of this.
For reference to the Force powers, they're all based on the elements. And so the idea is that the cosmic rays imbued them with power similar to the elements. Reed's stretching abilities, which admittedly are probably the weakest of this, because like it he stretches because he's like water. Sue's invisibility is clearly like in her barriers is air. Johnny is fire. Ben is earth. The four elements.
Doom is Doom.
Doom is Doom. Well, Doom is I steal the Beyonder's superpowers because I just can't help myself.
And also, me and Namor take turns on whose week it is to turn to whose turn it is to kidnap Sue.
Sue. Although to be fair, I've kind of like more modern Doom where he's not nearly as like obsessed with trying to date Sue.
Yeah.
I mean, he will if the opportunity arises, but
like Secret War.
Yeah, but like Doom is more about proving Reed.
He's better than Reed.
Yeah, proving he's better than Reed, which always blows up in his face. I don't know why he just doesn't stop. But
Doom does not learn his lessons well.
No, Doom does not learn his lessons well. So while all this is going on, Ben's like, I'm going back to no longer being the comedic fun guy, so I'm gonna go out into the world and mope without my trench coat and fedora like Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna go be all upset about the fact that I'm a big scary rock monster.
Yeah, so that leads into a thing eventually, and then he kind of stumbles into a hobo camp.
Well, before that, he walks around the city to a midnight cowboy soundtrack, like everybody's talking, and he's all mopey, and like these women run away, like, oh God, run, Cheryl! It's some dude in a rubber monster costume. And then of course he upsets a pizza boy who's like, what are you? I'm like, I'm Batman. I wish he said that. I wish Ben had said that. Like oh
God damn it.
So
oh my God.
And so he comes to this hobo camp, which turns out to be members of the jeweler's gang.
Yeah, so they take him to the jeweler,
who is trying to make Alicia his bride, which is
again back to this weird subplot.
I know, it's so awful.
Well, but we missed it. So before that, the Latverian spies from earlier, they show up to the jeweler because they want to try to buy the diamond off of them so Doom can use it. To which he basically refuses. He's like, no, this diamond is my key to making this my bride my queen. And so they basically, like, at first they're like, well, we'll just take it. And they pull guns out.
They have, like, secret
and then the whole hobo camp is obviously armed to the fucking teeth.
My favorite being the last guy who just pulls a revolver. I'm like...
Now, the one guy's got a blunderbuss. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this a pirate ship game?
Yeah, no.
Where the fuck did you get a blunderbuss?
You know, Wild Wild West is on the TV to the left of us, and they're fighting a crazy Western cyborg, and they're using, like, bombs and shit. Like, why didn't these spies have this crap?
Yeah, really. So basically, they leave. You know, the jeweler lets them leave with the promise: next time you come back, I will not be so forgiving.
And so Doom after hearing this is like, very well, I shall take care of it. I'm like,
yeah, Doom's like,
bro,
I'll show up and do it my fucking self.
Like,
why didn't he just send in more of his dudes and just go scorch earth
you have an
on
army.
I don't know.
Like, you just
Doom believes in doing things himself.
I mean, like, I could have gotten if he's like, he didn't want to cause like a global, like,
an international incident,
but like, at the same time, you could have sent in like 10 dudes with the weird assault rifles that they have.
Yeah,
because they have like a different.
Those were AUGs. That's what those were. AUGs. Yeah. It took me a while because it's. I know.
To be fair, the lighting in this movie makes it really hard to kind of see stuff. I agree. We were watching a grainy video cut, but like
it was that one scene where Doom's guys show up that I finally because at first I thought it was a Galil.
Yeah.
Then I saw it. I'm like, no, that's an AUG.
Well, then like the lighting in the jeweler's hideout is really
it's
bad.
Horrible.
Like they have like one orange light, and it just makes everything look.
Which I get, it's supposed to be in the sewers, but I'm like, dude, come on, it's hard to see.
Like yeah.
So anyway, they bring Thing in, you know, and the jeweler's kind of enraptured by him. He's like, my beautiful brother.
Yeah, because like I guess he's freaky looking. I'm like, despite the fact that I don't think the jeweler is that freaky looking, or any of his other hobos.
But so while that's going on, you know.
Oh, yeah, we're getting to this scene.
Yeah, so Doom shows up.
Well, no, before that, Sue.
Oh, Sue makes their costumes for them.
Yeah, which I'm like, she gets one line where she's like, "Your suit's fire retardant, Johnny," and I'm like,
she hands Reed his suit, then she like tosses Johnny's at him.
Yeah, because you know we got the show that she cares more about Reed than Johnny, which I've never really thought that about her and Johnny. Usually they seem
care about each other equally.
No,
when Dan Slott's not writing them.
less said about Dan, the better.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Dan Slott.
Yeah, we're busy right now talking about this
him
piece
the fuck
of
off
shit
that
movie.
run, please.
We're busy talking about this piece of shit movie.
This is still better than Dan Slott.
It's still way better.
But anyway, so...
Oh, yeah, and not only that, while this is all going on, Reed figures out that...
he figures out that Doom and Victor are the same person. He does a handwriting sample analysis because he's like... You know, they look at something and he's like, wait, where are my files? So he pulls out a huge file cabinet and I'm like, wow, that dates this good deal.
Remember when him and Ben were looking on that weird see-through computers monitor?
Oh yeah, it was like the 90s see-through computer monitor. Yeah, it was big rage for a long time.
It has like the wires that the DeLorean has that glow when it's about to jump.
I think I even told him, like, is that a see-through tower mod?
Which is so weird because like there's all these other normal looking screens in that scene,
and there's just this one. I'm like, wow, they just went over to Best Buy and bought this shit. I guess, yeah. Went over to Radio Shack, but anyway, so Ben's there, and we now know Alyssa is there as well.
Yeah.
Well, then Doom shows up, and basically Doom is like, well, I'm here to take the diamond, so he brought his guys with him. He's like, kill everybody.
Well, no, that he pulls out his German Luger.
Yeah,
his custom German Luger.
Yeah, I thought it looked like it looks like a Luger in a lot of the shots, and then they show the close up. I don't know what the fuck gun that is.
I assume it's supposed to.
I think that's some made up shit.
Because I think it's supposed to give the look of a Luger, just because he's there's kind of a
that little bit of like German
slash
Victor.
Nazi.
Victor's a traditionally German.
Well, especially because you see some of his foot soldiers have like a Nazi overtone to them, which I'm like,
it's just like. God, man, like it looks so bad when they show the close up. But
I mean, granted, it was kind of badass watching Doom just tank all those bullets.
To quote you directly, what, Doom has a piece?
Yeah, no, Doom has like a piece. Like
Doom's packing.
I'm like, oh come on, you couldn't have him use like his weird laser powers. I mean, granted, this Doom has a piece. I almost thought it could come out because it looks like the gun that like
it's probably molded into it.
Well, no, I actually. Kind of feels like it could come out. I mean, granted, I'm not going to try and
fool around with it later. Which, by the way, these are the new Marvel Legend FF figures from the newest wave. All of them, pretty damn good, honestly.
Yeah, no, pretty good. I was actually kind of surprised with the amount of detail some of them have. So basically, there's this scuffle, and Doom manages to get not only the diamond but Alicia, because he's like, I might as well have some leverage on the Fantastic Four if I'm ever to... and so Ben, of course, is like, well, I guess you're going to get your second clobber in time. Because I think this is the second time he says it's clobber in time.
Yeah, it's the second time.
Because he fends off the goons on each side.
And it's a little less cringy the second time.
But then we get this really weird, I guess, kind of subplot that I think, again, was set up for another movie. But basically, he's about to fight Doom, and all of a sudden he reverts back to regular Ben Grimm. Which, to be fair,
just runs out.
Yeah, which is, to be fair, a comic book thing, because early on, Ben's transformation was less permanent as it was, where basically he would occasionally swap back and forth. So, basically, I think basically the screenplay writers were like, well, how are we going to get Doom out of here? Because unfortunately, this Doom does not have nearly as many gadgets or the magic he has.
Yeah, which I think was more... They probably blew the budget on everything else.
Yeah, because later on we see Doom has one other weapon aside from his piece. He's got knife fingers.
Which I saw and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Like, you couldn't have just done a cheap electric effect? Like, you wouldn't even have to, like, do CG for that.
No, you could easily just have drawn that shit on the screen. But anyway, so then we get this thing where Ben comes back to the FF, and...
Yeah.
No explanations, I'm back.
Yeah, no, he actually says that.
Yeah, and then we get this thing where Doom basically is like, if you do not return, I will blow up New York City! Oh!
And Reed's just like, alright, we gotta go just to shut him up.
Well, because first Reed's like, I'll go, this is my fault, I'll be the one to settle it. And then all of them are like, nah, we do it all together.
Yeah. So they take the Fantastic Car.
Which is only in it for 2 seconds?
Really? This is the first time we ever saw it.
I'm like, when the fuck did Reed build this?
Yeah, no. What?
Where did he get the budget for this?
Yeah. So they go to Latveria and Dr. Doom's castle. And and they're all in their costumes now, which, fun fact, Thing has pants throughout the entirety of the film until they... Oh, sorry, Johnny.
Way to go.
What? Not my fault.
This is why we shouldn't have messed with the figures, damn it.
Sorry. So, Ben has pants the entire film until they go to fight. So they put him in shorts. Now, to be fair, this is how the thing looks, but he had nice pants the entire film, and now like he has to go in the skimpy booty shorts. I mean, granted, he does have the second best ass in the group next to Sue. But...
Yes.
So they just as they're about to fight Doom, because they want Alicia back, Doom puts them in an energy field because he's like, "Fooled you! I'm going to actually drain the powers that are in your body through Colossus."
Oh, this scene was also cringy because they told nobody but Sue's actress to react.
To react.
So it's just Sue screaming. Then you got Johnny just looking like doing his best dread.
Meanwhile, my favorite is Reed being basically I don't know what she's screaming about. I think this feels kind of good. Because to be fair, eventually it gets to the point where I feel like Sue's more having an orgasm than actually in pain.
Yeah,
it's this poor actress. I don't think she got how, what her face should look like.
I'm gonna look up what other movies.
She looks not very good in it. So keep in mind they're in force fields, and so basically they were going basically he's charging up the laser because Doom's gonna blow up New York anyways to show he's Doom. So how are they gonna get out of this, Colton?
Oh, so this is kind of good
because this is hilarious.
Reed kind of manages to stretch his foot through the force field
somehow,
and then it goes up. He kicks the laser away.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, first of all, you could have done that at any time, Reed.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you do this before? 5 minutes earlier would have been great too.
No. And so once again they get free because the barrier breaks, and we get our third. It's clobbering time.
Real quick, the actor and actresses for young Johnny and young Sue are different actresses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mercedes McNabb, who is famous for being, she's the blonde girl from Addams Family Values that Wednesday doesn't like.
Oh.
She's also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking up to see if this actress has been in anything else.
Well, you mind if I wrap up the synopsis?
Yeah, keep going.
We can talk about the actors after a minute.
Keep going.
So we get yet another fight scene, and here we get to see Sue and Johnny's more traditional abilities. Sue, of course, which I actually think the barrier is actually pretty cool because it's clearly they use computer graphics to stretch the barrier, and it's clearly an actual pane of glass or something like that, or maybe plastic. Ben keeps fighting in basically the laser is going to blow up New York. So. And unfortunately, before that, Doom and Reed sneak out into a veranda, and Doom, brings out the claws, and he tries to play you and I were once friends, Reed, but I'm going to kill you anyways. And so, him and Doom fight. Oh, and this fight is so lame. Reed wins by what? Punching him twice?
Yeah.
He punches him
he
twice.
Batman 89's him off the fucking balcony.
And then of course Doom plays to Reed's.
We were friends once.
Hang on, Victor. And he and so Doom is I think Doom was basically wanted to kind of guilt Reed a bit more. I think it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But so basically, Doom is I will be back. You won't be able to stop me. And so Doom undoes the gauntlet he had held onto him, so that he falls, and it's. You were laughing a lot at this effect when he falls off into the waterfall around Castle Von Doom.
Oh my! No, I was laughing. This is what I was laughing about. He falls, and as he's falling, you just hear the echo. Oh! I'm stop doing that damn laugh.
No, it's. And then of course Reed puts the gauntlet on the table and walks away because basically at this point they got to try.
And then we see the gauntlet just.
Yeah, because apparently he programmed that into the gauntlets to do the weird flexy shit. Which I'm I already knew he was alive. Clearly Doom did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And so, the laser of course can't be stopped. So Johnny's well, it's just like that video game me and Ben played at the beginning of this movie, despite the fact that there was no flame creature in it that stopped the laser.
Yeah.
So Johnny does his first for real flame on, where he covers it. And to be fair, for 1994, even though I don't think it's finished, it doesn't look horrible.
No, it looks decent for what it is.
But
oh.
until we get the scene of him racing the laser back to the Baxter building. And have you ever seen the Max Fleischer Superman cartoon, the first one?
Yes.
He gets in front of the laser and it beats him up until Johnny, and I don't know. Can you try to explain what exactly happened there?
I don't know.
Basically,
there's so little given to it that I feel like, why does that happen? But anyway, yeah, that's exactly a good explanation of what happens. I don't know what the fuck.
But basically, from what I think Johnny takes the laser and somehow sends it into space, because basically it shows him punching the laser back and then it explodes, and then all of a sudden Johnny's up in space flying back to Earth.
Yeah. Like, there's no explanation what the hell did he do to it.
Yeah.
Just you're just expected, like, the threat's done. There you go.
Either that or maybe he used the laser to blow up Colossus?
Maybe.
And then, after this happens, smash cut to the church, and we see the wedding of Sue and Reed Richards.
Who, I do ship a lot, I'm gonna be honest. I enjoyed that scene.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's straight out of the comic.
It really is.
Which is weird, because Sue is in a wedding dress, and everyone else is in their Fantastic Four outfits, which made sense in the comics, because all the other it was a superhero wedding, so all the other superheroes were there, and they were in costume.
Yeah.
Here, it's just the four in costume.
Reed, my man.
Yeah.
Why?
What, you couldn't have worn a tux?
Oh, do you want to talk about the best effect in the whole movie?
Oh, is when they...
When like, they get in the limo and they're leaving, we have this scene where Ben and Johnny are basically telling Reed, we promise not to get in too much trouble until you guys get back.
The dynamic duo, I guess. Because there's names for different, like, when there's only, like, three of them, it's the terrific trio.
But so, basically what happens is, Sue and Reed get in the limo, and as they're leaving, the sunroof's open, Reed's hand goes up.
Wacky waving inflatable Reed man.
You just see him waving. And then the movie ends.
Yeah, and then it ends.
Which I think the credits definitely are what they originally were. I think the biggest thing with you and me was the cut we were watching on YouTube has the modern day Marvel logo in it. I'm like, yo, that does not look like it is in this.
I'm like,
we go from VHS to fucking Marvel HD Blu-ray quality, and then back to VHS.
I'm like, don't try to play this bullshit with me. And so, basically, that's right. I loved you. You were like, you want to see if there's an end credit?
You want to see if
there's no end credits here, you motherfucker.
Is there a post credit where Doom says he's alive?
Oh, that was so
get you, Richards!
That was some
Yeah.
So, that was the movie.
That was, so overall, I gotta agree with what we said in the beginning. It's so bad, it's good. I mean, by far, it's the best FF movie I've ever watched.
It's entertaining.
I had less gripes about this than I did either of the Jessica Alba led ones and the 2015 one. Yeah,
I will admit, at least I believed Sue was more Sue than Jessica Alba.
Yeah,
she's awful in I'll say
the actress they had for the 2015 movie wasn't bad either. That movie suffers overall because the writing is so bad on that movie.
Yeah,
that was a movie that they didn't want to make. They just did to keep the rights.
Because I know people get mad when I say my big problem with Johnny in that movie because of the.
It's because he's black, isn't it?
No.
It's because
he doesn't act like Johnny.
He's not written to be like Johnny. He's written to be like Blade almost.
He's written to be an asshole. I mean, granted, Johnny
can be an asshole,
but
he's not
like that.
Not
like that.
But so, overall, stuff I've taken away from it, because I'm one of these people that even when we watch a bad superhero movie, I like to I can find some positives in it, except if we're watching Dark Phoenix. But
it was kind of hard for Generation X.
Or Birds of Prey.
No, I had more issues. You were able to take stuff away from Birds of Prey. I
liked Huntress, that was why. But anyway, this movie, I like the costumes in it. Doom looks fantastic in this. Like, he looks exactly like Dr. Doom should. The Thing's makeup doesn't look bad at all. It could be a lot better. Yeah. I would love to have seen what they could have done if they had an actual AAA budget.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with the rest of the FF's costumes. They don't look bad. I think I said my central complaint was that the 4 logos should be a little higher up on the chest. Because, as it is, you see how it is on my shirt.
Yeah, because...
It's like, in the movie, it's more
like on their stomach.
Yeah, which I'm it should be up higher.
Although I almost wonder if that had to do with... Because it kind of seemed like Sue's costume didn't fit her well. I almost think they wanted more endowed actress for Sue.
Yeah, it could be. It's
Like
hard
not
to tell.
not to,
Maybe when we watch the documentary about this, maybe we'll figure out if that is the case.
I mean, not that I judge things like that, but there are times where they pick an actress because they have a certain body type.
It would be asinine to say that they don't.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason.
It's a big issue, if I would argue, casting superheroines in general anymore. Is that there are cases where they clearly do it because of it'll get the fanboys all wild.
I give the MCU a lot of credit. They because when they chose Elizabeth Olsen as as the Scarlet Witch, I was expecting her to be like in skimpy clothing all the time because that's how the Scarlet Witch dresses, and B, they were gonna pick some actress that was just like
incredibly hot, without without bringing anything else to the
it,
character and that interpretation of it, other than how
which,
they look.
to be fair, I actually really like the MCU's version of the Scarlet Witch, mostly because she's not psychotically unhinged like they've done to her nowadays.
I do too. I mean, my biggest issue is definitely that it kind of, you can definitely make an argument that it whitewashes Wanda, but other than that, Elizabeth Olsen does a very good job with the character.
And I think it's one of those, like, it'd probably be hard to get an actress of her descent in
probably
America.
would be. But anyway,
I don't really know a lot of actresses of that descent. You're free to tell me in the comments. There are.
What else? The effects all look decent for being a movie from the early 90s.
And for being
80s,
unfinished.
And for being unfinished, they look pretty good.
Yeah. The worst being the
flame effects especially look good.
Yeah. The worst being the laser stuff at the end. Because that clearly was not finished at all.
Yeah.
For me, it's certainly interesting to see what could have been with this movie. What I would have taken, because, like, in my opinion, if this had gotten released, I think it would have had kind of the effect that, like, something like, say, the Stallone Dread film, because, like, I know a lot of people who, when that first came out, they were like, oh, this is a piece of shit. But I know a lot of people who, even with the 2012 Dread, because I have a friend that actually thinks the Stallone Dread is better because it...
Is that Brian?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I mean, not that, because to be fair, I like the Stallone Dread.
I like both.
My problem is Rob Schneider takes way too much time in that movie. Because to be fair, I kind of agree with him in that the Stallone movie looks much more like Judge Dredd because the 2012 Dredd was on a budget. But, like, everything else with that Dredd movie works for me, especially because, like, I think it's less comedically hokey, because, like, there is some hokey stuff with the earlier Dredd comics, but, like, modern Dredd doesn't have any of that. It's humor comes more from the fact that it's a parody. But, like, at the end of the day, like, Judge Dredd, like, that, like, because, like, that Dredd is much more, Judge Dredd. But, like, with this movie, in my opinion, if it had been released, it would have been considered garbage, like, back then. But I think thanks to the other movies we got,
it's kind of become a cult film, almost. I mean,
yeah,
I know people that actually prefer this to all the other ones.
Oh, I do. I mean, granted,
I like stuff about about 2005 and 2007.
I do think those movies are, like, there's some charm to them, but, like, my complaints are more stuff like Galactus and 2, or just the stuff with them, their powers swapping shit.
Or them constantly making Sue the butt of the jokes, and those, which is absolutely infuriating.
Yeah, because, like, one of the things that's so frustrating, because one of my problems with the MCU is the fact that they really don't have a lot of strong, like, and I don't mean like strong, like the strong that people can, like, there's no a lot of female characters that have like a presence in the MCU. The closest we get is Black Widow, and even then,
now dead.
Yeah, who's now dead. Because, like, most of the best female characters that the Marvel Universe has
are the villains.
Well, not only that, but, like,
in terms of the MCU, like Hela or
but, like, my opinion, like, Marvel's best female characters are Storm from the X-Men, and Sue. Who are arguably, like, the female characters that most people go to when they think of the Marvel Universe.
Along with, you have some that are not powered, like, I would argue Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane.
Gwen.
Yeah, which actually is kind of hilarious, because, like, in my opinion, I think DC has a lot better female heroes that aren't as...
Well, and
or, like,
Jean, Kitty, Magic to an extent.
What I mean more is that they can stand on their own.
Yeah.
Like, because, they've got Wonder Woman. I mean, granted, they also have She-Hulk, but, like, I kind of get the problems with She-Hulk, because it's like, she's a character that's a derivative.
Why is
of
everything
got to
be a female now, Adam?
That's not what I meant.
Fucking these neckbeards. We never did do that. So, a bit of a tangent here, but as we wrap things up. Back when the new Disney Plus Marvel shows had been announced, there was an entire thread in a group I was in where we were mocking dumbass neckbeard related comments about these new movies. Like, one was like, why is all these shows about a female, you know? Or like, some people clearly did not know who the hell She-Hulk was. And so they thought like, oh, so now Hulk's a woman. Stan Lee's rolling in his grave. And I'm like, Stan Lee created She-Hulk, you fucking idiot. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Especially because, not like that, no one...
Like, it was just constant. The ones on the Miss Marvel thread pissed me off to no extent.
Oh, I'm assuming those were pretty racist.
Oh, undoubtedly they all were.
But
I'm not looking forward to the neckbeard related shit when that drops.
Especially because I'm looking forward to Miss Marvel.
So am I. I'm looking forward to all
Kamala.
those.
I love Kamala to death. She's fun. She's like she
is the perfect successor to Carol's Miss Marvel name.
Can't wait until when Outlaws happens and they probably kill her off.
Who, Carol or Kamala?
Kamala.
I don't know if they'll do that. I still need to read the Outlaws thing.
No, I
have the first issue of it.
Because like my complaint with that whole thing is
make Spider-Man a boomer?
They make Spider-Man a hypocrite.
Yeah, they make him a boomer.
He was the first teenage superhero.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm sure you can make an argument that way, but still. But anyway, yeah, it's overall this movie.
It's kind of fun.
It's fun. It's a fun bad. I would give it a watch just to show like, hey, this is.
I feel like sometime
it's still the most accurate FF movie I've ever watched. The comics.
I feel like it's sometime down the road. You and I should do a riff tracks on this movie.
I'd be down for
that. Where we just pop all sorts of jokes at it. We'd have to watch it again because I'd like to get like some ideas on what we would say. Just because like I mean, granted, I had a lot of fun riffing this movie while we were watching it because like Doom, if nothing else, is just
Doom is a meme in this.
Entertainingly bad.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really my big takeaway, because, like, if nothing else, it's fun. Like, even if this had came out when I was younger, I would have probably still thought it was kind of bad.
Yeah.
I would have at least been like, well, you know, at least it's fun.
If I watched this as a kid, I probably would have enjoyed it a little more than I did the 2005 one.
Oh, most assuredly. Especially because it
feels like a comic book.
It feels like a comic book movie. It looks like the comic book.
Which is always my biggest thing as a kid, because as someone who grew up, like, you know, not being able to read a whole lot of comics.
Yeah.
Besides, like, the then current Stravinsky run on Amazing.
Yeah.
My experience of the FF was through my uncle's comics from the 60s and 70s. So, like, when I watched the 2005 movie, I was like, this looks nothing like the fucking comics. What the hell?
No, it really doesn't. But,
I think that was my biggest thing with Daredevil, too, was I was like, this does not look like the comics. It doesn't look like the TAS stuff either.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. But I still like that movie.
But yeah, the bottom line, I think if you're really curious, I would give it a watch. It's easy to find. It's right on YouTube.
Yeah, just Google Fantastic Four 1994 or just
Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Because if you put in Fantastic Four 94, you'll probably bring up some stuff from the cartoon.
I guarantee you'll find it. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this review. I think we've talked about as much as we could about this movie. I got to get a Coke in me because I forgot to get a soda while we were talking about this.
But yeah, so overall, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
All right, and that's going to do it for this episode, boys and girls. So, as always,
we ask you,
remember the hyphen and take care.